Hello, my friends. It is about time we got back to talking about Hoseki no Kuni, aka Land of the Lustrous. Last time I made a video on this anime, it was for the sake of pointing out the unique and interesting aspects of the show and what it was able to accomplish as a CG-only anime. And, at the time, I also promised to cover the philosophical themes of the show as well. While I originally thought about covering the parallels between the three species of the gems, the Lunarians, and the ocean people, the name of which escapes me at the moment, to Plato's tripartite theory of soul, as well as how Plato's thought on the role of myth contributes to the setting. But I'm glad I waited and spent more time thinking on it, because I got the feeling that that aspect of the show will be more fleshed out in further seasons. No, instead I want to talk about Phos, and how he represents perfectly Socrates' own description of the experience of living the philosophic lifestyle. Though to talk about this, I ultimately have to turn to Plato's description in the Euthyphro. And since Plato was an absolute genius in terms of philosophy, we can be certain that he is completely unreliable when it comes to an accurate historical representation of Socrates. The inspiration for this video came to me when watching a new channel I discovered on Reddit called Kamimashita, who made a video about Phos's character and the artistic significance of Phos's fragility. Kamimashita is an awesome guy, and one of the end cards will link to his channel, so check him out. For my part, I want to cover the philosophical significance of Phos's shattering, and show how the philosophy of death defines him as a character. What does it mean to learn something new? We tend to think of learning as an act of gaining, as incorporating something else into our worldview. When we seek to learn something, surely that is how we see the pursuit. Phos, too, thinks this way, as he believes that knowledge will allow him to gain a sense of worth, a sense of value for both himself and Cinnabar. But when we do learn something, and I mean truly know it, this has a profound effect on who we are and how we see the world. To Socrates, the act of learning meant abandoning your old self to become something wholly new, wholly different. It means to make your old self disappear forever. And this is what it means to die. To actively pursue wisdom, to pursue philosophy, meant to willingly and feverishly seek to destroy yourself time and time again. To be a philosopher means to chase death, and to value the change that the ever-lethal tyrant of knowledge does to the person. This Socrates said to his friends while awaiting the hemlock poison to fulfill his death sentence. He hoped to encourage them not to be sad or fearless at his passing. After all, what's one more death in a life of many? Gems, however, do not die in the land of the lustrous. They need only heat to stay conscious, and, when shattered, they can simply be glued back together with very little loss. The gems have no concept of death, and thus no awareness of impermanence. Phos is different, however, because Phos dies. Throughout the show, every time Phos learns something significant about the world in his pursuits, the event is marked by shattering, and by Phos losing a significant piece of himself, literally losing memories and gradually changing who Phos is as a person. Yet he continues the project even to the point of breaking tradition and joining Antarcticite throughout the winter. By the time winter ends, Phos is almost entirely unrecognizable as the person he was before, and becomes fascinating to the other gems. This is because the gems have never seen death, never seen change in this way, so they learn to value it. This philosophical narrative is further emphasized by the gold alloy that comes to fill Phos's body during the winter episodes. Kintsugi is the Japanese practice of repairing broken ceramics with lacquer mixed with gold. The gold isn't there for its own sake, but to accentuate the cracks and the impermanence that they represent. The gold that bleeds through Phos's cracks is meant to do the same for us as an audience. We are meant to develop a sense of mono no aware, which means the awareness of things. It is a sadness in death, to value things for their changing and to be sensitive to it. Phos represents the essence of philosophical death, and we are right to be joyful, sorrowful, and emboldened by him, because an unexamined life, regardless of how many deaths it must endure, is not worth living. Thank you for watching, my friends, and special thanks to Kamimashita for inspiring this episode, as well as for some editing tips that made it possible. If you made it this far, why not subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell? We are still a small channel, and we don't pay anyone to advertise, so the only way we can grow our community is with your help. I hope you'll be able to join us next week, and remember, stay true.